Thank you so much for joining me today at Everyday Yoga. My name is Christine. My pronouns are she and her. And today we are going to have a relax and restore class. I have 2 blocks sitting here that I am going to sit on in hero's pose. If you have any hip issues, knee or ankle issues where being compressed in a cross-legged position or hero's pose sitting on the heels is uncomfortable for you, then definitely find a similar kind of prop. Or you could even fold up a couple of blankets or some towels, or you could use a bolster or a couple of stacked blankets or pillows. Whatever is going to make the practice sustainable for you. If you're uncomfortable, you're not going to want to come back to your yoga mat. So I'm just placing them just like I had crossways and sitting in a supported hero's pose. And we are going to practice today befriending our nervous systems. I know everyone out there has heard fight or flight as a stress response. There is also fight, flight, freeze, and now fawn. And if you're interested in that, you can Google that if you want to know more about all the different kinds of stress responses. And I think now there's a 5th one too. But basically, it is normal for us to have a stress response to protect ourselves in times of danger. The problem is when we have chronic stress, our body feels that and recognizes that as danger, even if it's simply sitting in traffic or having a heated conversation with somebody. Our body responds the same way as if we were being chased by a bear. So what happens when we do that is all of our body's resources come online to protect us. But when that happens, it is harder for us to sleep and eat and digest and heal and poop and all kinds of things. So today we're going to befriend our nervous system and give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. And so find yourself that seat that you can comfortably sustain for a while. And if that means sitting on a chair or even on a couch or with your back up against a wall or some other similar kind of support, go ahead and do that. And I know I'm chattering away and you want to get to the yoga, so let's get to the yoga. So finding that nice, tall, comfortable, sustainable seat. Go ahead and just take 3 nice, big cleansing breaths. We'll just inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, let it go with a sigh. Here we go. And again, inhale through the nose. And just flop everything down. Just kind of hang forward, and then again, one last inhale. Let the body be soft and just round the head forward. And let the hands be limp at the sides and just let everything go. Breathe here a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, go ahead and inhale and begin to roll that spine up to a nice, tall length. Draw the crown of the head and the tips of the ears up towards the sky and let those elbows be heavy, not with any kind of effort, but just heavy enough to keep the shoulders down the back and away from the ears. Hug in those lower ribs here just a little bit, and you'll notice how that causes your tailbone to kind of lengthen down towards the earth. And with your hands on your thighs or wherever they're comfortable being, maybe close your eyes for just a moment and go inward. And scan the body with the mind's eye. Just the toes, the feet and the lower legs, the upper legs. Notice where you might be tense or tight, and see if you can just allow it to soften while still holding this upright, beautiful spine. And then into the hips, the low back, and the belly. The heart, the back of the heart, the shoulders, the hands, the lower arms, the upper arms, the neck and the throat, the skull, the jaw, the cheeks, the eyes, and the skin of the forehead. And have this kind of intentional, long, beautiful spine, while at the same time finding where you can soften into that. Hugging the low ribs in will help support the back here. And if you're not used to sitting tall like this, unsupported, it can get uncomfortable and it can feel like there's a lot of effort involved. But if you allow yourself to soften into that and then notice the breath, you can bring some ease to that effort. Beautiful balance of ease and effort. So notice the breath. Notice the belly as it rises and softens. Notice the ribs as they expand from side to side with every inhale. And hug inward with every exhale. Notice the lifting of the heart with every in-breath. And the softening of the shoulders and the jaw with every out-breath. And as some thoughts come up throughout our practice, just notice them. And just let them float by like clouds. And come back to the sensations of the body and of the breath. And let's deepen the breath. Noticing how many beats it takes you to inhale. And then matching that number with how many beats it takes you to exhale. If you're sitting in a cross-legged position, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. If you're sitting up in heroes, just stay right where you are. And unless you need to change your position at this point, go ahead and do that. But if you can find some ease right here in the stillness, see if your body can allow that. If you're inhaling for a count of 4, see how it feels to lengthen that exhale to a count of 4, or 3, or 7, whatever it is. And then by lengthening that exhale, maybe to a count of 5, or 1 more beat longer than whatever yours is right now, you are telling your nervous system that it is safe to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system where we can heal and restore ourselves. So you think about it as you continue to inhale and exhale those nice elongated exhales. When we are in a stress response, fight or flight, all of our body systems for that fight or flight come on board. And that includes increased respiration, higher blood pressure, higher blood sugar, because all the sugar is rushing to all your muscles so you can fight or run. Your digestion basically quits because all of the resources are getting ready for that activity. You'll find it hard to evacuate poop, basically, because I'm sorry, but your butt is clenched. Everything is tight. No resources are going there. Same thing with being able to sleep. If you're getting ready to run, you can't sleep. There's too many hormones rushing around in your body, getting you ready. And so that's great if you are running away from a bear. But if you are sitting in traffic or at work or trying to sleep and you're stressing out about your work or whatever might be going on in your life or causing you stress, then you can't tap into that healing parasympathetic nervous response. And your body doesn't know the difference between a bear and modern day stressors. So it reacts the same way. So when we can tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, we can tell our body we are not running away from a bear. We don't need our blood pressure to be higher. We don't need our respiration to be so fast. We don't need all that blood sugar running around. It's safe to sleep, it's safe to poop, it's safe to have sex, it's safe to rest, it's safe to eat. And it's your body's systems are all on board for you to heal. Even if you're into weightlifting or bodybuilding, as you continue to breathe here, I promise I'm almost done with my spiel. Continue to breathe here. Continue to find stillness here. Know that you can befriend your nervous system. You can use that sympathetic nervous system response to balance out and complement any strength building activities that you might be engaged in, because that's when your body can build muscle. If you're always stressed out about how much muscle you're building, you're kind of inhibiting the muscle building process. And I may not look like I speak from experience, but I did have my muscle building days, and I backed off of that a little bit, but that's my choice for me. You have to do you. So anyway, finding this nice balanced breath, finding this elongated exhale, sitting up nice and tall. Let's come back to that breath every time the thoughts, the clouds come across our vision, and just come back to that nice, beautiful breath. Let's inhale, long spine here. And as we exhale, let's just take the chin down to the chest. Let those elbows be heavy and the shoulders come away from the ears as we continue to breathe our beautiful elongated breath, or at least a balanced breath. And if either of those options cause any kind of uncomfortable feeling inside of you, any kind of anxiety, just come back to your usual breath. But if you can tap into that balanced breath, go ahead and roll your head from side to side, getting some neck rolls in. And when you've had enough of that, go ahead and inhale the head back to the top of the spine, and then maybe look up a little bit if that's okay with the neck. And just maybe roll the ears from side to side very gently, just enough to get a nice little stretch across the front of the throat. Our point of communication, our throat chakra, the thing that allows us to hear and to speak, or the chakra that allows us to hear and speak. And then we'll come back to the center and then realign the bottom of the chin with the earth. And then we'll go ahead and inhale those arms up high to the sky, bring the palms together and down to heart center as we exhale. And let's go ahead and finish this little seated portion of our practice with 3 ohms. And the ohms are not only the sacred sound of the universe, but they are also physical vibration that we create in our bodies. And coincidentally enough, vibrating in the body or any kind of rhythmic movement with the body taps into that parasympathetic nervous system. It helps to stimulate the ventral vagal response. So it is a beautiful thing all around. And if you'd like to join me, let's take an inhale to prepare for 3 ohms. Om. 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 And then we'll release the hands and just notice how you feel after that vibration. Just notice how you feel. There's a process that I'll post, a Kripalu yoga process that I'll post in the notes below. Whenever a feeling arises, whether that's a physical feeling or an emotional feeling, there are 5 steps you want to first breathe and then relax, feel, watch, and allow. So as you feel those final little reverberations from that Om practice, breathe, relax, meaning soften, feel what you feel, watch it with your mind's eye, and just allow it. And now we will come down to our backs. So let's go ahead, nice and slow, with lots of love. Get yourself centered on your mat and bring your back down to the earth. Straighten along through the entire body for a nice, big, good morning style of stretch. Inhale here. Maybe exhale out the mouth with a sigh. Get long through the right side of the body as you continue to breathe. And then get long through the left side of the body. And then we'll go ahead and hug in those knees. And just rock a little bit from side to side. We'll see this in a lot of yoga practices. Oops, taking off my socks here. I should have done that before. I apologize. You'll see this a lot because this is a good little way to massage your back. Taking the knees away from the chest will get that massage down on the upper part of the buttocks and the lower part of the tailbone there. Bringing them in closer, you'll feel the massage a little bit higher on the back. Maybe you might want to rotate the knees in one direction and then the other a couple of times. And just see what feels good to you here. Just holding on to your knees or your shins and just comforting yourself and showing yourself that self-care that we feel guilty sometimes for taking, but we actually have to in order to function at our highest. That's just biology. And then maybe point and flex the feet and maybe make some ankle circles in one direction and then the other. And then let's place the feet back down on the mat and take them as wide as the mat. Take them, or maybe outside the mat, or maybe a little closer in, depending on your hips. But wherever you can easily have those knees kind of fall in towards one another to support each other. So you're not exerting any effort here. And this opens up the front of the body. This opens up the hips, allowing there to be no effort here, no contraction. Again, this is a signal to the nervous system that everything is okay. So let's bring the hands to the belly and reestablish that nice balanced breath, or maybe with that elongated exhale. And we'll just breathe here, letting those hip flexors soften and open up very gently to start with first. We spend a lot of our days not only in a seated position, because that's just the way our culture is and our technology is set up, but also when we are in that fight or flight response, we tend to contract in to protect ourselves. And so even if you're not physically protecting yourself like this, there's this tendency to sort of tense up around the hips as an act of self-protection. And again, that's just biology. So in order to tap into that healing part of our nervous systems, we can tell our bodies right here that we can open up the hips, that we don't have to be in this self-protective mode, that it is okay to soften and rest. And just 3 more breaths here, again, embracing stillness. Being okay with simply being. As I've heard it said, we are human beings, not human doings. So let's go ahead and maybe lift the knees from one another and begin to gently windshield wiper them from side to side, rocking them back and forth, getting more of that low back yogi massage, while also opening up the hips and stretching the IT bands on the outer sides of the thighs. Maybe take the arms out wide in a nice T. And maybe take your gaze to the opposite side your knees are going. So when your knees are going right, your gaze is going left. When your knees are going left, your gaze is going right. And then maybe, if you haven't already, link the movement up with the breath, inhaling the knees and the gaze to point to the sky, exhaling to the side, inhaling back to center, and exhaling to the opposite side. Just moving with the breath, nice and slow, massaging the back of the skull. And then the next time your knees go to the right, go ahead and allow them to just stay there, gazing out over the left shoulder. You can keep your arms where they are. Maybe you might want to stretch them up overhead and notice how you get really long in that left side body. And just let that left knee be nice and heavy here. Let the arms be heavy. Stretch out and then just let the arms soften here. Let the hips soften. See where you are exerting effort that is not serving you, and invite yourself to let it go. If you want to get even deeper into that hip, you can take the right ankle to the outside of the left thigh and just allow the weight of that right leg to draw the left leg closer to the earth. If that's uncomfortable for the hip, just remove the ankle, no big deal. See if it feels good. If it doesn't, don't do it. Maybe stretch those fingertips and get super duper long in the left side body. And then everybody release the right ankle, and then we'll come over to the left side with the knees, the right side with the gaze, arms out to a T, or maybe keep them up overhead. Soften where you can. Maybe go a little bit deeper with that left ankle on top of the right thigh. Letting the weight of the leg draw you down, rather than any effort of the leg. Just let it lay there. And then let's go ahead and inhale both knees up towards the sky. Take another long, good morning style of stretch here. And then let's roll over to the belly, or take the hands behind the thighs and rock and roll up and down the spine. Nice and gentle and playful. You can take the feet all the way up and over if that feels good to your back and your shoulders, maybe coming into plow pose, bringing the toes down to the floor and letting those arms stretch behind your back, coming up onto the shoulders and really kind of closing off that throat. If that doesn't feel good to you, just go ahead and flip over to the belly. If you're in plow pose, just go ahead and bend the knees and roll the spine back down to the earth, and we'll rock it on over to the opposite side. So coming right on down to the belly. Let's come into a nice soft Sphinx pose for a moment. And just press into the elbows here, bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders, palms on the mat, fingers stretched out nice and wide, index fingers about parallel or so. And really draw the heart forward as you tuck the chin and draw the shoulder blades down the back. Press the pubic bone and the top of the feet down towards the mat. And if this feels uncomfortable on the low back, you can take the feet out as wide as the mat, or to whatever width kind of feels comfortable for your back. And you can also come down just a little bit lower by walking the elbows out a little further if that feels better too. But with the intention of having the elbows right underneath the shoulders here, we'll open the heart. And let's just look back there beyond the right shoulder. Getting a little bit of a stretch in the left side of the neck. And then back to center. And then look over the left shoulder, stretching the right side of the back. And then back to center. And then we'll move with the breath here, inhaling center, exhaling over the right shoulder. Inhale, center, exhale over the left shoulder. Couple more times. Maybe finding a little organic movement in the neck here, maybe rolling the neck a little bit, maybe finding a spot that's particularly in need of some attention and giving it that. And then we'll go ahead and bring the hands alongside the ribs, and we'll press up into tabletop and take a couple of cat-cows here, flexing through the spine. We'll inhale, dropping the belly, looking forward, lifting the tailbone into cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Moving with that nice balanced breath. Really squeezing every little bit out of this elongated exhale in your cat pose. Inhaling cow, maybe bending the elbows and curling the toes under. Exhale, cat. Rounding back, head very heavy, belly button up towards the spine, and continue moving with your breath. A couple more rounds here. And then we'll go ahead and come back to a nice strong tabletop. And we've done victorious pose in our videos previously, so we're thinking about kind of rotating those pinkies inward without actually moving the palms. The inside of the elbows, the elbow creases are kind of shining forward, and notice how that takes the shoulders away from the ears. Let that chin be tucked so the neck is a nice long extension of the spine. Hug those low ribs in, allowing the tailbone to be nice and long. And we'll just stay here for another full breath in this really strong tabletop here. And then let's inhale that right leg out behind us. Maybe rotate the ankle, maybe point and flex the foot for a breath or two. And as we exhale the next time, let's draw that right knee up towards the right wrist, coming into pigeon pose. So again, if you have blocks or pillows or bolsters or blankets or towels, you can take one of those props and put it right up under the right buttock here. If the hips are not on the mat, maybe taking a little pillow underneath here so that the hips can be square to the front of the mat. And we'll come up on those fingertips and look back over your left shoulder and see if that left leg is parallel to the left edge of the mat there. And again, we'll find that nice victorious pose in the shoulders here and the arms. Lifting that heart, tucking the chin, just like a proud little pigeon running around the park, this pigeon pose. And then we'll open up the hips by maybe coming down to the forearms here, adjusting the breasts and the belly so that you kind of come comfortably inside that right thigh. Maybe coming down to that Sphinx pose we just did in the upper body. If you want to come even deeper, opening up those hips here, you can bring the palms to prayer position and rest your forehead, your third eye right here on the thumbs. Or maybe you might want to stack the hands and bring the forehead to the back of the top hand. Or you could extend all the way out into child's pose. Whatever allows you to soften into that hip, maybe rock a little bit gently from side to side, just kind of settling in here, again, seeing if you can find some stillness. And even as you feel that right hip stretching and opening, maybe you can focus also on that opening of the front of the hip flexor and the left leg. These two opposing forces of the legs here. And let's come to that Kripalu yoga practice. So here, focus on the breath. Breathe. Your nice balanced breath or your elongated exhale. And relax. Soften. Where can you let go a little bit more? And then feel. Notice what you feel. Where do you feel sensation? And then with your mind's eye, your inner awareness, just watch that feeling, watch that sensation. Be the observer. And without moving or adjusting or judging, just allow it to be. Allowing the weight of gravity to help you sink deeper towards the earth. We'll take 3 more full breaths here. When you're ready, go ahead and begin to walk yourself upright again with your hands coming onto the palms. Maybe plant your left palm down and maybe bend that left knee and perhaps reach back with the right hand for those toes, getting a kind of a dancer's pose, kind of a stretch in the front of that left thigh. If that feels good, if not, just stay with the left leg extended. And then we'll bring both hands down to the earth and curl those left toes under and really press back with that left heel here. Noticing that stretch in the front of the left hip flexor. Lifting that heart, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Get any props you have with you out of the way, and we'll come back to this tabletop pose, and we'll do just a few cat-cows to realign the spine and realign the hips and the neck. Inhaling your heart forward and exhaling your belly button up. And then we'll come back to tabletop and stretch that left leg out behind us, maybe rotating ankle, maybe pointing and flexing. And the next time you exhale, draw the left knee towards the left wrist. Coming into pigeon on the second side. Sinking nice and deep. Squaring those hips up towards the front of the mat, maybe using a prop to boost up that left sit bone. Looking back over the right shoulder, continuing to breathe your beautiful breath you've created for yourself, finding those victorious shoulders and that lifted heart, the tucked chin. And then slowly begin to make your way a little closer to the earth. Coming into whatever arm variation serves you, but allowing yourself to gradually get there. Maybe start with Sphinx. And then maybe bring the head to the thumbs. Maybe stacked hands, and then go into child's pose. Allowing your body to adapt gradually. We don't just go right from crawling to running. We have to learn how to walk first. And then again, come back to your beautiful breath and let's practice that 5 steps again. Breathe. Relax. Notice what you feel. Observe the feeling. And just allow it to be there. No judgment. No expectation. Just allowance, allowing it to be. No resistance. And find 3 more breaths here. Pigeon on the second side. Continuing to soften. Continuing to invite that parasympathetic nervous system response to heal you and restore you and bring all your body systems back into balance. When you've found your 3 breaths, use your hands to walk yourself back upright. Maybe plant, if you want that more of a stretch in the front of the what's that part of the leg? The quadricep. You can bend the right knee and bring that left hand around to meet the toes. You can find them back there. And just open the heart, maybe press that foot into your hand, really get nice and deep into that hip. And either release it if you're there, or if you're not there, either way, we'll go ahead and curl those back toes under, press into that right hip, really open up through that right hip and press into the heel. One more nice big breath here. And then let's bring the sit bone down to the earth and wrap that right leg around in front. Bringing the soles of the feet together, coming into our butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, holding on to the ankles or the feet. Maybe using the thumbs here to bring a little bit of massage to the ankles and the insides of the feet, the arches of the feet. Maybe up into the calf even and the top of the shin. Finding that nice lifted heart here. Let's inhale, find length. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, keeping that nice strong back. Maybe press into the legs with the elbows here, really opening up through the inner thighs. Inhale again, and as you exhale, just release the arms, allow the head to be heavy and round forward. And just come into this nice little ball here. No effort at all. Getting a nice big stretch across the back body as you inhale here. And allowing yourself to soften and release and let go as you exhale. And like a brand new blade of grass, we'll roll one vertebrae up at a time, unfurling the body, inhaling the arms up and overhead, finding our victorious pose. And then exhale to release the hands and bring the knees up towards the sky. And we'll come all the way down to the back for a final Savasana. If you have a bolster or blocks or pillows or blankets or anything, if you're cold, cover up or put on socks. Find a Shavasana position that works best for you. Traditional Shavasana is with the body flat on the back, stretch out the legs, heels at either corner of the mat here, and open arms up to the sky, palms shining upward, chin tucked for that long neck, shoulder blades snuggled in towards one another. Maybe press into the heels to lift the hips and really make contact with that low back and the mat beneath you. And then soften, breathe, be. And again, if you want to be covered with a blanket or have a pillow under your head or cushions under the knees, whatever makes this a restful, resting position, then find that place and take 3 more cleansing breaths, inhaling through the nose. And as you exhale, just let everything go. Inhale again. And just exhale. I don't know why I have to make that noise, but you get what I mean. Just splat. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Exhale and just bleh, right on the earth. Just be here. Allowing yourself to tap into that nervous system. Allowing yourself to be here out of love for yourself. Because just like that parasympathetic nervous system being online is good for us physically and mentally, it is also good for the community around us, because it is only when our parasympathetic nervous system is on board that we can be compassionate to the others around us. And the only way to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system is to be compassionate to ourselves. So showing yourself this love and this compassion is really just a good deed for the rest of the world. I was going to say, put that in your pipe and smoke it, but well, I did, so there you go. My editor can edit it out if he doesn't like it. And if you found that to be kind of funny, go ahead and curl up the corners of your mouth. And even if you didn't, maybe mentally curl the corners of your mouth, because even that releases neurotransmitters and hormones in your system that help you tap into that parasympathetic nervous system. Just a smile, or even imagining a smile. So with that in mind, maybe treat yourself to some funny videos or some playtime with your favorite furry or feathered friend. And then we'll go ahead and inhale everything out nice and long one more time, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, rotating the wrists and the ankles in one direction and then the other. And then keeping your arms extended, bring the soles of your feet to the earth, knees pointed up towards the sky, and roll to whatever side serves you best, resting your head, eyes still closed if that feels good to you, on the lower arm. Maybe reach that top arm around to hug your legs in towards you and give yourself a little hug here. Maybe inviting this fetal position to be the beginning of a compassionate practice for yourself. Guilt-free. When you're ready to come up, go ahead and push yourself to a nice tall seat. Coming into our staff pose, Dandasana, legs extended, toes pointed up towards the sky. Nice balanced position for the hips to end up in here. And we'll walk those fingertips out to the sides and roll the shoulder blades back and down. Lift the heart. Remind yourself of that breath you created for yourself with just a couple more breaths here with this nice, tall, beautiful spine. And then we'll inhale, raising the arms up alongside the ears. Bringing the palms together and exhaling, hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing. Thank you so much for taking good care of yourself and good care of the world. May your rest of your day be filled with peace and joy. Namaste.